principle number 3, lose the labels. If you've ever taken a personality test, or listened to someone else describe you, or been asked to list your key characteristics, an ink pad and a stamp have been used to define you with specific words that have very specific meanings. Although those specific words you were labeled with may hold some truth, they cannot encompass all of your truth. But they can hold the power to confine you to a box that you don't belong in. They can shape your thinking, your self-image, your self-worth, and even influence your behavior. I learned this principle after a therapist called me out on it. When I first began meeting with my therapist, his name was Phil, he asked me about myself. And one of the words I used to describe myself was a label that I had heard my entire life, and I assumed to be true about me. I am an extrovert. I had a session with Phil the day after completing a massive solo hike. He asked me to describe my emotional state at the end of the hike. I said, I felt like I was on top of the world. I might have been physically exhausted, but I felt truly energized. Phil reminded me that I had described myself as completely extroverted. He pointed out that what I had described during that hike was feeling energized when I was alone, which is somewhat the opposite of being an extrovert. He didn't point this out to make me feel bad. He pointed it out that I, like you and everyone else, use labels to describe ourselves that aren't necessarily accurate and are often not only limiting, but can also be harmful. They can drive your thoughts. They can amplify negative emotions. Since I considered myself an extrovert and was suddenly not around people as much as I had been before, I had to be feeling a sense of loss and loneliness, right? Well, wrong. Once I understood that the labels I had applied to myself were influencing my thinking and therefore influencing my emotions, I stripped the labels away and worked to see myself without the labels. It was liberating. What labels do you apply to yourself? I'll wager not a single one of them is 100% accurate. What might happen if you decided to remove your labels and just be you?